Hello everybody, Shadow SP here, playing more Granblue Fantasy, and today I wanted to talk about a little topic that is very important moving forward in an account's lifespan. Now that we've started to get some characters at max level, I want to talk about how to further improve upon them. So let's take a look. Now I've mentioned EMPs before, and those are still important. So let's take a look at, say, let's just go with one of these, Monica. So EMPs. We can see we can spend EMPs to improve our characters in a lot of different ways. These EMP sets are differing for each character in a couple different ways. Believe it was the first row is racial, the second row is type, and the third row is personal. So if we look at the character, Monica, she's human, balanced, and then her third row is personal, right? So it's theoretically, then when you look at another human, this is the same top row that they'll have. When you look at another balanced character, this is the same second row they'd have. And then, you know, whatever the third row is based on that individual character. So let's actually do a quick comparison here. Let's pick human balanced character. Let's pick Catalina here. Might as well. So we take a look, and yeah, the first two rows are exactly the same as Monica had. But the third row is completely different. It's not that important to know kind of what the rows will be ahead of time, because you're gonna look at the EMP list as a whole before you decide what you want to put your points into. And in a lot of cases, the EMPs that you'd want to use early are not necessarily the same as the ones you'd want to use late. So let's go ahead and take this off, and we're gonna go ahead and go back to Monica here. So say we've hit our maximum on EMPs. There are still some other things we can do to upgrade this character. First of all, if you've reached your level cap, you can do awakenings. Now, awakening bonuses, you can see by default, they can give you some pretty powerful stat bonuses. So let's try to raise an awakening level. Okay, we can go to level 2, no problem. About level 3. Also no problem, but we are running a little low on these anima. Now how about level 4? Also no problem. We have to use up a bunch of these fragments, but those are pretty easy to farm in the material quest in the special tab. How about level 5? Alright, now we start reaching to materials that drop from high-level raids. So basically, if you haven't reached those high-level raids, you're kind of stuck at a cap of awakening level 4. I'm going to actually awaken Monica level 4 right here. Pretty good. Alright, so then we can go back to our character. And if we look at their stats, they have the extra HP and extra attack that the awakening levels gave them. Alright. So another thing you can do is come down here to Overmastery bonuses. And there are lots of different ways to grant Overmastery bonuses. We don't have any earrings on this account, so we can't really demonstrate those right now. If we start to get some later, I can show them later. But for now, we're kind of stuck without them. I don't really want to use these either, because we only have a few, and they're pretty rare. And I'm not going to use the Perpetuity Ring because we only have one, and I haven't decided exactly who should get it yet. But the Perpetuity Ring is pretty important. It gives you a lot of... it's not important, I should say. It's pretty powerful, because it gives you a lot of different bonuses. But for now, let's go ahead and just do a normal ring. And I'm going to go ahead and actually use one of these linear rings. Now, when you use a ring, they roll stats from, a random. There's a table on the back end, right, where they roll stats from, and if you look at the descriptions of these rings, coronation rings can give you between 2 and 4 stats. Lineage rings can be 3 and 4, and intricacy rings are always 4 stats. In addition, the coronation ring and lineage ring have lower percent chances of giving you higher attack and HP stats than the intricacy ring. Basically, coronation ring has the worst pool to pull from, but it could still pull the same excellent set of bonuses that the intricacy ring does. So yeah, it's pretty random. Let's go ahead and use a lineage ring to see what we get. By the way, these we're obtaining from our weekly missions. The weekly missions on the missions tab. All right, 1500 attack, 750 HP. The healing is not really useful on Monica, but overall, this ring could be a lot worse. And we get some extra pendants and rank points for that. Alright, let me talk real quick about the, what do you call it? The Perpetuity Ring, real quick, just so we can kind of go over what it does. So, in addition to giving you some stats, that being 10% attack, 10% HP, and 5% damage cap, and these mods are a separate modifier than your other attack bonuses. So we talked about this with in-grid building, with EX mod, normal mod, the Omega mod. It's a different mod than that. So it stacks pretty well with all of that, and damage cap is never bad. It also gives you the ability to spend 10 more EMP stars, because when each character ends up maxing out EMP at 18. I think I might have 1 or 2 that are nearing that. Let me double check. Yeah, he's able to get to 18. This is the maximum number of EMP stars that you'll have access to, unless you were to give that character a ring, the Perpetuity Ring. All right. Then we can go ahead and talk real quickly about the earrings. They're a lot like the rings on the Overmastery bonuses tab here. They give you some bonuses. Basically, they pull from a list to give you a bonus to your character. They're a lot less immediately impactful than the rings. So that's why we don't even have any, so we can't really use them here. And these, I believe, I've never used them on my main account, but if I'm not mistaken, they let you buy more EMP stars as well. I recommend making sure that I'm correct before you use them like that, but otherwise, they're pretty safe to save, because those items are also used for awakenings for your grand weapons that you can pull from the gacha. And that's generally going to be more powerful than putting them on a single character, but your mileage may vary. Alright, so we've talked about a bunch of ways to strengthen your individual characters. There is technically one more way. I don't think we have any right now, but if you were to have weapon plus marks, let me check to see. Hold on. Yeah, if you were to have weapon plus marks, you can put up to 300 of them on a single character. This is going to be less value than if you were to put those same plus marks in a grid that character is using. I think the plus marks, like the stats that they add are something in the neighborhood of halved when they're put on an individual character. But if you have a lot of plus marks and you've fully plus marked out your grid, you can put them on your characters to get a little bit more power. And it can help. I've definitely gone through the experience where not having the plus marks has killed me on some higher level content. So I've definitely seen this work out in our favor. But yeah, I think that they're generally better used in your grids, and they're free to move around. So it's not a huge deal. Now this account's gonna have a hard time getting them because the most common source of getting plus marks is from gacha. It's possible to farm them from a lot of different sources, but they're pretty rare, and it's a slow grind to get enough to fill up a grid. It's the same for summon plus marks, which we haven't really talked about yet, but we can kind of throw into this video just because there's really not much to talk about in terms of summons other than, you know, sub-auras and stuff, but we haven't gotten to that point yet. And that's more when we're that'll more go into an advanced grid building video. So if we look at our summons, right, we can just go to our last page and pick one that we use everywhere. Let's go ahead and pick Tiamat. Right, we can look at this, look at our plus marks. We have 12 plus marks. These are all exclusively been obtained from our Karum. It is a source of these things. It's very slow and it's not the best, but you know, we can put these on and you can see, yeah, we spent 12 plus marks, we got 60 attack and 12 HP. That's not a ton. And you can apply this to every one of your 5 main summons equipped. So, it's not the best, but it doesn't hurt. And basically, when you get to endgame, you'll want to have your entire summon list decked out with these when you're using them. Again, just like the weapon plus marks, they're free to move around. So if you're having trouble with clearing something and you notice that your summons aren't fully plussed up, just move them around until you've got as many plus marks as you can. Alrighty. So I think, was there anything else we needed to talk about? Other than 5-star uncaps, there's not really much else to talk about for character growth. Basically, when you reach your normal max level, you know, at the 4-star uncap, you'll generally be prompted to go do a Fate episode, and then you'll have unlocked that character's 5-star uncap. Right? We have 2 dark characters here that have done exactly that. I've uncapped Lelouch, and the Love Live Muse 30ers, I think it is not uncapped yet. Right? So when you uncap past level 90 or past level 80, because you're already at level 80, you're not at your current level cap, but you'll still gain an EMP whenever you're in that level range of 80 to 90, or 80 to 100, I mean, and 70 to 90 for SRs. And you'll also gain some improvements to your skills and abilities. It's worth doing, but it is pretty expensive early on, and not just in terms of rupees, but it is also expensive in terms of materials, right? So if we look at, hold on, gotta move over there. If we were to come over here and look at, you know, that uncap that I was talking about, I've done the quest for it. So it costs 100,000 rupees, which is quite a bit for an account that doesn't have a huge stockpile. And because this is special for these Love Live characters, these are side story mats. Usually you would find these are just normal drops, like these orbs and stuff, which are also included here, so it's not that big a deal. Yeah, and it also costs blue sky crystals, which we're currently in the process of saving up on them for something important later on. So it's pretty rough to use 3 days worth of blue sky crystals to uncap a character. We're gonna have to do it eventually, and we will eventually get better sources of blue sky crystals. But for now, this is the world we live in. All right, and if we look at an SR character, that's similar, you know, say Noise Shear. It's lower prices, right? It's a lower barrier to entry, costs less blue sky crystals, but they are an SR character, so they have lower stats, and their upgrade is generally less impressive. That said, you know, our SR characters that can be uncapped, especially Noish and Welder, and probably Eugen, Catalina, and Luria eventually, but Luria's is specifically expensive because it requires a specific treasure that we have to get from Treasure Trade, which costs a lot of stuff. And we're not really wanting to do that right now. But yeah, I think, you know, we'll want to get everything uncapped eventually. That's the way to become stronger, is to hit the caps on everything and then move on from there. But we're still a little bit constricted on resources in a lot of places, and I'm trying my best off screen to keep everything flowing, keep the resources coming in. I've done a lot of stuff in the side stories, kind of picked up a bunch of champion merits, to the extent where I've been able to spend a few, because we're saving up on some of them, but not all of them, for some important stuff later. I've got 46 now, which is enough to feel free to spend some. I'm kind of also working on the Supreme merits in the side stories. It's a long process to get those over there, but it works. Right? It's slow. It's not the most pleasant. If you're playing with free rewards, pick anything up in the crate that you have. I have 6 of them in the crate from clearing the missions for the anniversary. I'm not gonna pick them up because that's not a 100% available thing. So we're stuck with what we've got, and yeah, we can buy them from, you know, the Showdown shops also. So that's another source. But I'm also saving up on these anima. So, you know, we're just spending AP when we get it to get these merits. All right. Well, I think we've talked about enough today in terms of character strengthening. With a little bit of, just a tiny bit of summons thrown in there. So if anyone's watched till the end, I got a little rambly there at the end because we kind of went a little off topic. But I don't think that it's worth talking about, like, starting all over and talking about this all again. The information there is still valid. Yeah, I think that, and I hope that the information was useful to somebody at least. So my next video, probably more main story, or there's one thing in progression that I've been trying, and if I succeed, that'll be next. So look forward to it. Without further ado, this has been Shadow SP, signing off.